Welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you step by step how I made this beautiful pre-wedding shoot dress from cutting of the fabric to the final stitches. You will learn some simple but effective techniques to achieve a professional finish. So grab your fabric, your sewing tools, and let's get started on this stunning pre-wedding shoot dress tutorial. This dress has the perfect finishing, as you can see from this video, and you can tell that my mannequin is not doing justice to this dress. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to cut this dress step by step. My name is Oluwatosin. In case it's the first time you are seeing my channel, and you're welcome. To all my returning subscribers, you're also welcome. In case this is your first time here, please consider subscribing, and don't just subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified the next time I upload a new tutorial on this channel. Now, for this dress, I used crepe fabric, and for the rows on the chest, I used silk. Now, when you're working with crepe, you have to consider things like, is it stretchy to both sides or is stretchy to one side? I put all of that into consideration before folding my fabric. If it's stretching to one side, it's advisable that you use that one side as the shaping side, not as the length side. Use that side as the shaping side, not as the length. But if it's stretchy to both sides, you can choose any side for the length and any side to mark your measurement on. So to be able to cut and sew this dress for any adult, the basic measurements you need to measure on the person are the bust, the waist, the hip, the half length, shoulder to nipple. I'll be listing all of them here. So after considering all of this, the measurements, the nature of the fabric, the first thing I did was to cut out the half length, because this dress obviously has an half length that has princess that bustier. So to do this, I consider the highest measurement between the bust and waist. It happens to be a bust, and then I added 14 inches allowance to this, and I folded this into 4. Now, because this dress is an off-shoulder dress, it's just that I had to cut the sleeve back to it. What I did was to just deduct the length of the sleeve, and then I marked the rest length, like the remaining length of the half length on the fabric, and I added 1.5 inch. If you like, you can do this on your pattern paper before transferring to your fabric, but me, I just want to cut straight on my fabric. So when you're done doing this, cut this portion out of the whole of your fabric, and then you share it into two. One will be for the front, the other one will be for the back. Now you will pick one, which is, in my case, I'm starting with the front. You can choose to start with the back, but I'm starting with the front. Like I said, you can always use your pattern paper. So I'm imagining the extension of the sleeve, and then I marked it on my table. This method works for me perfectly anytime I don't want to draft and I have to cut a style that requires drafting, like this one. So for the sleeve, I used 5 inches. So what I deducted from my half length was 5 inches. Then I divided a nipple to nipple by 2. I added 1 inch, shoulder to nipple plus half inch, shoulder to under the bust plus half inch, and then I measured 2.5 inches forward from after the under bust, and then I marked it up to the under bust. Then for the shoulder, I'll be using a shoulder divided by 2. She's 14, so I measured 7. And then for the armhole, I'll be using 7. Since it's an off shoulder, I'll not be doing that normal curve armhole curve. I'll be using this kind of armhole. Then what is next is the neckline. For the neckline, I use neck depth of 8. Remember that it's coming from the off shoulder part. Then I marked the neckline. It's kind of a slanted neckline, not really V. Then this is just me trying to draft out the princess that bustier. I have a detailed video on how to draft and cut a princess that bustier on my channel. The link to that video is currently showing up, and it will also be down in the description box in case you need a more detailed video on how to draft this part of the dress. So I proceeded to cutting this out, and after cutting out, I transferred my body measurement into my fabric. So I'm dividing our bust by 4, and then I'm going to be adding sewing allowance. I used sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. Then our waistline divided by 4 plus the 3 inches that I'm cutting out from that side plus sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. Then I proceeded to cutting this out, and basically this is it for the front bodies. Moving over to the back bodies, if at this point you are still with me and you've not subscribed, please kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified the next I upload a new tutorial on this channel. So this is it for the front princess dart. For the back part of the princess dart, I still maintain these 5 inches that I've marked on my table. I still maintained it. I just placed the back bodies on it while on fold of 2, just like I did for the front. This back is way easier than the front. What I had to do was to deduct the zip allowance of 1.5 inch, then a nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus ½ inch this time around, not plus 1 inch like I did for the front. And then I proceeded to cutting that out. Now for the lower part of the dress, which is the pencil part of the dress, you consider the highest measurement between the waist and the hip. Anyone that is the highest, you are going to consider that and add 10 inches allowance, then fold this into 4, leaving 1.5 inch or 1 inch at the back. When you are done doing this, the next is the length. You're going to deduct the half length from your whole length, mark that and add 2 inches allowance to the length, which was what I did. After this, I'll be dividing the waistline by 4, excluding the zip allowance that I've left at the back. The waistline divided by 4 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. There's something I called first hip. It is basically the skirt waist. I consider it anytime I'm sewing a fitted dress, and it's 4 inches from the waistline. So I'm going to be measuring 4 inches from the waistline downward, and on that point I'll be dividing a skirt waist, which is our first hip, by 4 plus sewing allowance, then another 4 inches downward. On that second 4 inches, I'll be dividing hip divided by 4 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then I'll connect these 3 points together. For the pencil part of the dress, which is the lower part of the dress, I deducted 6 inches from my hip. You can deduct more than this, and you can deduct not up to this. Our hip is 46. I divided 40, which is 46 divided minus 6 by 4, and then I added just 1 inch allowance. Now because this dress has a front slit, I had to notch the center front up and down so that when I open it up like this, I can easily identify the center. After opening my fabric like this, I also marked the center at the middle. Then I just used dotted line to connect center up to center down. Now what I'll do next is to decide on the side that the slit wants to be. Maybe is on the left or on the right. In the case of this person, is on the right side of our dress. So what I did was to mark the actual measurement. Like I said, our hip is 46. So I marked 46 divided by 4 on this my front panel, divided by 4 from the middle that I've marked, and then I folded inside all the allowance, imagining what will be left after shaping my dress, so that I can know the actual measurement that I want to use for the slit. So from the up, the slit is going to start from 33. I marked 33. Then from the center, I want it to be 5 inches away from the middle. So from the middle that I marked with dotted lines initially, I measured 5 inches downward. I measured these 5 inches from the 33 downward. All these numbers that I'm saying, they differ. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, the length of your slit, the depth, and all of that. But for me, these are the numbers that I used in getting the position where my slit will be. The next is from the down. You are going to cut it open. You will not be stopping at that 33. You will cut everything open so that when it's time for you to sew, you are going to sew from up to that 33, and you are going to use hemming gum to fold the rest of the slits on both sides. That's why you have to cut everything open from up to down so that you can have allowance that you will use to fold on both sides so that it will be as neat as this. Believe me when I tell you that this my mannequin did not do justice to this dress at all. If you are interested in watching the sewing tutorial of this dress, click on the box on the right side of your screen. And if you are interested in watching the tutorial on how I was able to make this beautiful fabric rose that is on the chest of this dress, click on the box on the left side of your screen. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, give thumbs up, share as much as possible, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.